We would like to call Property Management Committee to order. First order, call the roll.
Commissioner Dodd,
Here.
Commissioner Davidson,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson. I'm sorry, we went. Oh, we switched. That's right. That's right. I'm sorry. Commissioner Hall,
Here.
Commissioner Phillips, Commissioner Irving,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Chairman McAdoo.
Here. Next on the agenda, approval of the minutes. Commissioner Dodd.
Thank you, Chairman. I've read the minutes and make a motion for their approval.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. I know you're looking at the agenda. We are going to move Project Twin and Station TIF as Mayor Jason Cole. We're going to move him up after public comments. And he had made that request because Laverne meeting starts at 5:30, just like ours. Okay, any public comments? All right, thank you. All right, Project 20 Station TIF Mayor Jason Cole.
Mayor for the City of Laverne, many of you already know me. We are here to talk to y'all about the Twinning Station mixed-use development, TIF. Land is putting out some packets right now, and we've got the master plan for this up on the screen. This is a mixed-use development with retail in the front on Waldron Road. We've got residential in the back. It's something our board has already unanimously approved as a PDR zoning. This is on the south side of Waldron Road. It is an area that we are already undertaking a very large-scale widening project. We are widening Waldron Road in that area from a 2-lane road to a 5-lane road. And this is going to come in right around the time that we're wrapping, as far as full completion, right around the time we're wrapping that up. Land, do you want to talk a little bit about this development?
Sure. If you look at the site plan, we have about 7. Yes, I'm sorry. This is Land Elliott Equitable Property Company. I'm the developer for Twinning Station. Excuse me. If you look at this, this one development, it's one parcel, but it looks like two. They're contiguous with a walking trail connecting the two of them. We have about 2 miles of walking trails on this site plan. The north side is primarily residential with apartments and single-family houses, and the dark green on the north side are townhomes. The southern parcel is mixed use. We've got 164,000 square feet of commercial space on this side of the development. We're in talks with a grocery store for that parcel. It will be a mixture of some office space, but primarily retail up and down a boulevard structure. We'll have a lighted interchange at the, if you look at the circular kind of roundabout in the middle of the project that intersects with Waldron Road. We've got over 5 miles of sidewalks, 2 miles of green space walking trails. We have a total of about 17.5% of the site is green space, whether it's park space or buffers. And happy to answer any questions about the development itself.
Additionally, this is situated right on the edge, it's literally right on the border with Davidson County and Williamson County. The south part of that area is essentially a commercial void area. So you have literally thousands of homes that are already built in the area, and their closest area to go grocery shopping would be Nolensville or Antioch for Tanger outlets, or having to drive all the way into Smyrna. So this fills a void area that will not only, keep sales tax in Rutherford County, but it will actually pull from the other areas as well.
Part of what the mission is currently between Smyrna and Laverne, there's nearly $2 billion of sales tax leakage that are going into the surrounding towns and counties around these two towns. And so the idea is to capture as much of that as we can by creating kind of a destination mixed-use experience.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Commissioner Irvin?
So we just got this, didn't know anything about it other than what was on the website. The only thing on the website was one piece of paper that was pretty bare bones. So what are you asking? Or is this just for information this evening?
So this is a vote on the TIF.
Well, I'm going to vote no, because I literally just saw this.
Well,
And I'm just now hearing about it. And so, we got to have some data before we can vote on this.
well, I wanted to email it up, and of course, I'm sure you're aware of our issues in Laverne with the hacks that we've had. So it's taken down our systems, and we're in the process of working with TVI and rebuilding the network, the entire network for Laverne. Currently, our emails, even just regular emails, can't get through to Rutherford County because we're held up right now due to that. I don't know if it's y'all servers or ours, but we can't get through.
My phone still works. This is literally the first time we're hearing about it. So could you tell me how much it costs in terms of taxes?
Happy to. What we're talking about generating, if you want to go back to, if you want to get into the TIF dollars, you can flip to the back of this book. The front of the book's kind of the pictures and the site plans and things like that.
Is this going to go to budget?
Yes, sir. And you on budget?
I'll ask lots of questions.
Yeah. The local sales tax revenue that Younger and Associates, who's the third-party firm that most of these towns and developers use, is who sized all of this based on our entitlements. And we'll have them in person for the budget meeting, if that's something
What's
you
the
recommend.
property tax implications?
Right now, it's not on the property tax rolls. That property is not. It's city-owned, so it's not on property tax rolls. The overall for local tax will be $153.5 million. And then the TIF that
Explain what you mean by that. The property tax would be, or you're talking about the investment is a certain amount, and then on that you would have some tax amount, presumably, which would then go through to the developer for a period of time, and then it comes back out eventually.
Right, as far as, once this is back on it's back on property tax rolls, you'll have property tax, sales tax, hotel tax, that this all generates. Currently, it doesn't do any of that. It's just an open field that's sitting as city property. So you've got all of that in the mix. How much it will generate as far as through, let's see here, property tax, direct property tax, when you're looking at it, the annual average direct property tax is about $956,917 is what it will be when it's back on there. And that's the combination of the residential, the multifamily, the retail, the commercial.
In what year?
Excuse me?
In what year when it goes back on?
So, whenever it closes is whenever it will go onto the property tax rolls, and that's whenever it's built out. So you're looking at what, 2030, 2031 for complete build out?
For complete build-out. So
Do you have-
it'll be phased.
Do you have clawbacks in this in case, I haven't really seen one in Rutherford County that's worked.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yes, BJ's Wholesale did.
A TIF?
Yeah, they did a pilot.
That was a pilot. I'm asking about TIFs.
TIFs, this is the first one in Laverne. And this one's for every $1, it's 4.8.
Right.
That's
I know they all come in with the great numbers,
Yeah.
5, 6, whatever number of times.
Yeah.
But it never, so far in Rutherford County, none of them have panned out.
So we've got 42 months to deliver before we lose the entire benefit, the clawback.
Right, and
question
there's a
to
building,
answer
right,
your
there's a
clawback
hole in the
question.
ground right over there somewhere.
Yeah. And we've used the TIF in Smyrna, so to do our infrastructure, which if you drive by that site, about 25%, 30% of the infrastructure is in place there. So, and we haven't touched the
I'm not trying to
TIF
give you a hard
dollars yet.
time, except I haven't seen any of the data, okay? And I don't even know candidly exactly where it is, you know? And so, so I haven't, other than this one,
Fair.
this Exhibit A, which doesn't have much on it, candidly. So
Fair.
I'll be studying this, okay, but I can't support it until I know what it's about.
We will make the entire TIF package available to this committee. That's not a problem at all. It's about 75 pages is what Younger's put together, so you can get into the weeds on it. Anybody else have any questions?
Commissioner Davidson?
This is our backyard.
And the only reason I'm calling on you, because I think that's your area. Am I correct?
So I need to make the motion, is what you're saying? I thought you meant, did I have any comments? I think this is great. So, am I making the motion to move it on to steering,
Not to steering to budget.
to budget? Okay. I move to approve and send this on to budget.
A second.
Who seconded?
Rick,
Okay.
a comment, please, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Dodd?
Would you think it's reasonable to add to your motion to send it with a neutral recommendation until we hear the bones, which I'm sure you're prepared to present, in addition to your dollar return, your $4.81 return for every dollar? I think Wayne, and it's speaking for all of us, we need significant data, which you have in your 75-page report. If you'd have that prepared to tee up and present so that budget can make a recommendation on the dollars. So I'm just asking, would you consider that to be a neutral?
Yes. Rachel, can you add with a neutral recommendation?
The committee agrees, if
And we can have
Rick agrees.
the presentation as well. The bones emailed out tomorrow we can send that over to Rachel, if you don't mind sending that.
That'll work. Any other comments?
I'm good with my second on that. I did want to comment, though, when I was on the Industrial Development Board, kind of how I looked at these things is what tax dollars is this current property generating right now? And it's greenbelt land. It's not giving us anything. So the potential upswing of this by the time it's done, the third page from the back, as you said, you see these glorified numbers that says $4.81 per every dollar spent. If the commercial side of this alone comes in, we're more than 10 times the amount of money it's bringing in property tax revenue right now, not counting the rest of it. So that's why I support the TIF of this. I think you said, if I look direct property tax after this thing's done in 20 years is over 19 million. 19,138,000. So
That's the 20-year impact.
that's a big upswing from greenbelt property that we're currently getting.
And if you don't mind, if I just, along those lines, the way this bill's written, there's a 5% admin fee for the county tax assessor's office and 20 cents of every dollar, 20% of it's going to Laverne as well. So it's a share in property tax revenue is the way the bill's written.
Any other questions? Commissioner Phillips?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Impact from what standpoint?
Impact from a financial standpoint.
Okay.
Where will we be from a property tax
Yeah, 24, 36, 48 months kind of thing. Yeah, I got you. I can do that.
Any other questions? Commissioner Johnson?
You know, we did a TIF in Smyrna and voted for it and all in favor of it. But then there were some changes, and I ended up okay with it, but I didn't like the changes coming to something that we had already voted on. Mm-hmm. And one of the things was this much residential and then the stores, and then it got changed. We added residential, which we didn't. That's why we settled originally on the first number on residential, then it went up. I'd like to definitely see a clause in there where it would have to come back to us if there was any changes in what we already approved.
So, Mr. Commissioner, we have, the type of zoning that this is at least with Laverne zoning, and I know Murfreesboro, Laverne, Eagle all have different zoning ordinances. Ours is a PDR, so it is, essentially the developer, or if he sold this to another development group, they can't add on any residential. They could reduce the number of residential, but they can't add on without having to go fully through an entire rezoning process through the city. Which is Planning Commission usually for 2 months, Board of Mayor and Aldermen a month after that, and then it's 2 months there. We've had a lot of conversations with the way that the floodplains work in this area. You won't see, if anything, you're probably going to see some reduction in residential, but part of the contract that is between the city's IDB and his group is specific numbers for commercial square footage to maintain that.
If less is built, there'll be less TIF taken because there's less forms of repayment. So in Smyrna, for example, what he's specifically talking about is we originally did our site plan for a Hy-Vee. A Hy-Vee grocery store can be over 100,000 square feet. Hy-Vee bailed on Rutherford County and their plans for distribution facility here and that type of thing in Middle Tennessee. And so when Hy-Vee changed course, we didn't have a 100,000 square foot box for a grocery store in our marketplace to fill that location on the site plan. So we had to scramble around, and we got Sprouts, which is a great grocery store. It's a smaller footprint, and so we basically increased shop space around it, but our net result was about $25,000 or 25,000 square feet less space. What did we do at that point? We went back to younger. Here's our new plan. We've got to resize it because these things are personally guaranteed, the TIFs are. So any money we take has to be repaid. And so what happens is kind of virtually the TIF is a ceiling. Can't take any more than that. You can only take what you can repay through property taxes, and the cost of which are basically limited to public infrastructure improvements. And so the TIF is almost a organic mechanism for repayment purposes and for sizing purposes. That number could come down if we build less. So that's just the way the TIF works on a state statute level.
Any more questions?
Is there a clawback?
In our contract with them, yes.
And what is this, I don't want to, go ahead. Okay. The, around this area, what is there around this area? I don't have a drawing.
So there is there's Rock Springs Elementary further south of it, and then the rest of the area is residential. If you dropped a pin at Valera Road and Waldron Road and went out 3 miles in this area, which covers Smyrna, Laverne, a little bit of Williamson, a little bit of Davidson, there's about 12,000 homes that have been approved between the municipalities and counties to be built. So this is purely a residential area. As you get closer to the interstate, outside of that 3 miles, you start running into some industrial area.
Okay, that many homes and all, why do you need a TIF? I mean, that's a lot of potential. I'm trying to,
Well,
I'm
that's
trying to
not-
get, I'm trying to figure out the economics. If you've got that kind of development around there.
You've got that much, you've got density, but density doesn't guarantee as far as any kind of development coming in. Like this, those other developments aren't part of this development. So.
I get it, but why would you even need why would you need tax help? What in the model doesn't work to drive you needing,
The rent model, the rent that the marketplace will pay for the amount of retail that they're, commercial that they're wanting us to speculatively build in that location. At current construction and development costs.
you've got that many homes around there, but the retail won't work.
That have been approved. They're not all built yet.
I get that.
So,
I'm just, and this has neither.
right.
And so I'm just trying to figure out, and I'll look at their materials. I hope it's all in there, right?
It is, yeah.
All right.
Commissioner Johnson?
So you're saying this is on Walden Road,
Yes, sir.
and it's between the interstate and Blair Road?
So, no, it's where Blair Road and Walden Road intersect. If you're sitting at that stop sign, it is just to your left, and it goes all the way back to Hamlet, Carruthers, over by Carruthers Drive.
Commissioner, it starts at the intersection of Lake Road and the Rock Springs Elementary School. Used to be the Beatty Peach Orchard decades ago. It starts at Lake Road, as I see it. Lake Road is just south of it.
Yes.
that correct?
There's one parcel in between the bottom portion of that and Lake
And
Road.
Lake Road. Does that help you any? So from Lake Road towards the interstate is where this is located.
Any other questions? If not, call the roll.
Commissioner Dodd,
Yes.
Commissioner Davidson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hall,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips. Gotcha. Commissioner Irving. Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Chairman McAdoo.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. And
Question for you here. Has this been, if you bounce this off of Michael Smith, our financial director, does he know about this? Is he in tune with all this? And if not, could we make sure that we get with our financial director before next Thursday night, go through this process with him so that he can talk about it intelligently as well next Thursday night?
Yes.
Just make sure.
Absolutely.
And don't forget that you're going to email it to Rachel,
And I'll include Mike.
and she'll include Michael,
Wonderful.
okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Next on the agenda, project TIF Bart Kline. You can't get it?
Hello, my name is Bart Kline with Kline Swinney Associates. I'm here today to talk about the Keystone development. This project was in front of you guys in '24. You probably have noticed the work with the city with the opening of Town Creek that's been taking place. I've worked on this project for about 3 years. So in '24, we were in front of you and a TIF was approved. Since then, we've been working with the city, getting all our ducks in a row to actually start construction, and we have been negotiating different aspects of the TIF and development agreement. And really, this presentation is to get you guys up to speed with this. So some things, Michael Smith has all the stuff from the IDB. It went through IDB. Everything was approved. All the documents, development agreement, and TIF, as well as Nick Christensen. So that has happened. I've spoke to many of you about this project. Wayne, you have all the information. I still don't know if I'll get you to where you need to be, but you got it all. So some of this stuff will be information that we talked about a year
And I'll
ago.
commend you for doing that.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to go through this. This is the same presentation that City Council has seen. So what I told my team is let's make sure we take that same information in case there's questions. But some of this stuff I'm going to go through fairly quickly. But what I can say before I start, the big change to this is nothing changes with what we are building and where we are building it in terms of number of units and retail. The amount of the TIF stays the same. It's still $26 million with a 20-year cap. The only thing that really is changing is that the TIF is broken into 3 separate groups for each separate project. Basically, what has happened over this time frame is we have found that the hotel developer or the condo developer or the apartment developer cannot fund each other's projects. And before they had all the TIFs tied together, so that group could not be liable for somebody else's project. And so what this does is it separates it. So moving in, what we've been doing for the past 8 months, I will tell you we've had a meeting every week with the city to talk about the different facets of the agreement, to really rewrite the agreement in all aspects. We've had a PUD approved by the city, which we actually did complete design for the project. So we know what this building looks like, what's in the building, where the buildings are at. In addition, we have engaged our financial partners and we have our equity group to the table, and we know how we're proceeding. So we've gotten all our ducks in a row and we're getting ready to start. We've negotiated with WGNS the property conversion. As you remember, we're building WGNS a new building. They're moving into that building and they can't skip a beat. We got to hear our football game. It can never stop. So that's a negotiation process. We have selected a contractor that has priced what we have done to know what the numbers we are working with. We anticipate working with that same contractor. The team is still the same team. It was called HRP Residential. It is Hillsborough Residential. SEC, Matt Taylor, as you know very well, civil engineer, and then our firm, Kline Associates, the architects. The same development team. Today, Todd Seifert is with us. He's in the row in the back. We need to talk to him. Some new faces you see is Boulevard Capital. That is our equity group. Obviously, you know this gentleman in the top right-hand corner, John, and his daughter looks a little better than he does. They're our broker team that are helping us out with the project. Myself and Matt Taylor. So the proposed development, as it was, there was ranges the last time you saw this, the 230 to 240 apartments, the 80 to 100 for-sale dwelling units. The boutique hotel was 80 to 150, and the retail space was 30 to 40,000 square feet. So where we landed from the top down is we're at 230 to 240 apartments. There's one that may not happen. There's 80 to 100 for-sale dwelling units, 115 hotel rooms, and the retail square footage is 30,854. We've stayed within our ranges. We've defined our ranges. The big thing when we talk about the TIF is the TIF was separated into 3 separate groups. So in green is phase 1. That's what we're starting first. So that's the multifamily. That is the park. That's where the bridge goes, the parking garage, the retail, the building, the WGNS. That is phase 1. Phase 2 is the condo project. And it's not really phase. Let's call it section. Section 2 is the condo section, and section 3 is the hotel. So the TIF has actually been taken, the value of the TIF has been revised to be for each portion of the project, which is based off of specifically what we're building. This was the previous site plan. This is the approved site plan through the PUD. These are previous massing study views of the project, which you saw last time. This shows, I think last time you saw this, we were in our very early stages. And now we're 25% in, so we're done with the design phase. So the PUD that was submitted to the city, actually, here's the PUD drawing. So this is that building on the corner of Broad, and it shows the materiality and exactly what we're looking at. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps doing this. But that's the first phase of the building. Phase 1, this is the multifamily structure with the retail and the bridge park. This is the condo facility building. The hotel, this is WGNS building, so this is the building off South Church and State Street. So realistically, when you look at the impact plan, so again, nothing has changed on the cap. We've really just provided 3 pots to what that goes towards. So this property now generates like $4,000, or I think it's $4,000 is what everything generates. It's going to generate roughly $2 million a year. That's if you add that 837 plus the 1.3, it's like 2.1 million is what this property does. For us, the TIF is used to look at redevelopment in an area that we're trying to, how do you compete with Medical Center Parkway where the infrastructure is cleaner, where this is cleaner and there's stuff to comp to? This is to jumpstart, and the TIF is actually going to the downtown where you haven't seen development in a long, long time. I know Wayne may disagree with some of this, but this space where this is has been what it's been for longer than I've been alive in some cases. This shows the 3 separate sections of the TIF. So section 1 up top, so that's the multifamily piece, the retail, where the bridge is going, the parking garage. The section below it is the condo section, and the section below that is the hotel section. Proposed revisions to the exhibits, one thing you may have understood from the last time we were here is the development team was actually going to construct the changes, the infrastructure improvements to the 2 intersections. I don't know why, the 2 intersections, and they were going to be reimbursed. That is not worked out, so because there was some complications with that, so the city is going to construct those. This shows the sections, so you can see section 1 on the right where the green is, section 2 in the center, and section 3 being the hotel. This is the land transaction. So this basically shows the property that we're purchasing for the different sections. The city has made it to where we can't move and purchase different sections until we meet obligations. Obviously, you know there's a project that didn't do well on the TIF, that hasn't proceeded in the TIF downtown. So the city had some roadblocks they set up to basically make sure that as we proceed, we can't come and not deliver on certain aspects of the project. We won't even be able to buy the dirt for the next phase, but yet we still got to put in the infrastructure for that phase to happen. A good example is the hotel is the last phase of this, but in phase 2, we have to build 115 parking spaces in the parking garage to service that hotel. So it basically keeps the developer incentivized to always proceed forward with the project. This is the previous development schedule, and I know this is hard to read, but construction schedule, but I'm going to kind of give you some high-end dates. So basically, Q2 of 26, you should see construction of the WGNS building. And then roughly, I want to say I don't have this memorized, but I can tell you it is. Q1 of 27, you'll be seeing construction of the bigger buildings. So we've got all our ducks in a row. This is a very complicated, large project. They are pioneering. There's nothing like this in the area. Everything, as you know, is off of Medical Center Parkway or, Sam Ridley Parkway. This is new to downtown, and it's something we've been working hard on. I'll try to answer any questions I can. I will tell you at budget, I believe Tom Trent, who works for the city that gave the speech on TIF and what it does, he will be there. So if you have really hard questions on TIF, I'll try to answer them, Wayne. But if not, if you wait till budget, that'd be easier.
And he's on budget.
Yes, and he is on budget. Really, that's the presentation overall. So any questions that you may have?
So Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yeah, Commissioner Irvin.
Investors, okay, so the projects and investors are all separate now. Is the clawback by is accordant with each stage, or is the clawback some kind of overall clawback?
There's all kinds of clawbacks from even when they start the certain phase. If they do not get enough done in 120 days, it's a clawback. So there's clawbacks throughout the whole development agreement that basically makes that developer have to start and complete. But when they finish section 1, before they do section 2, there's clawbacks to say, you got to do X, Y, and Z before you go into section 2. For instance, if they have an option to buy the property for section 2, but then they commit in section 1 that they're taking the infrastructure over, they're making it pad ready, they're getting it completely ready. So there's basically cost by the development team for the other sections that, for instance, if the developer was to defunct on one section, the city would be sitting in a position where they have it ready to go, everything's in, so it's more marketable. So they're basically learning from the mistakes that they've learned on the previous project, which in turn has made it kind of hard. Some of these items we had to detangle because they were not financeable, because some of the clawbacks, the bank said, nope, will not work. So that's really what the last year's been.
Commissioner Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bart, we were talking about a 5-year build-out or a 5-year plan way back when. Can you update us on that?
Yes.
And really, all you're asking us to do is to approve dividing the TIF into 3 different sections versus 1 different section.
Correct.
So that's all you're asking us to do.
That's absolutely.
Financially, no changes to it. But I'm more interested in kind of the build-out. Where do you see that going?
So in 6 months, we'll be starting construction for the WGNS building, and you'll see that this building right here, let's see if I go. There's a lot of slides. I'm going to pull some out for the next presentation. Well, top right-hand corner, that's the WGNS building. You'll see that constructed. It'll start in the first 6 months. They have to actually build WGNS, then move them over there. And then first, second quarter 27, you'll see construction of everything starting. So you're looking at a 5-year plan. I want to say 2029, 2030, Todd, that sounds right, is the deliverable on this. So, you know, that answer?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve.
Motion to approve.
And forward the budget.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Commissioner Irvin?
I'm trying to figure this out. So the goal, basically, you have an area that the city is hoping to jumpstart. Okay. Didn't work. Now we split it into 3. But the goal is basically still sort of the same in terms of using mostly apartments, a few owned units, maybe a hotel now, to jumpstart an area. Do you have any, I almost would like to see some kind of data that supports that works, because it kind of didn't work the first time, or maybe you could explain why the deal broke down. Was it financing mainly? Or were there other breakdowns? Because it's basically the same goal, you know, using apartments and a few owned units, et cetera, to jumpstart an area. And I'm trying to figure out, does that work?
Well, so the proof of it working is East Nashville, Gulch, go there in 2010. That's proof. Unfortunately, you're now at the point where Rutherford County has grown so much that you're starting to see where, I don't think a TIF has happened, but you're starting to see it. So you're seeing a lot of TIFs. So that's your proof that it works. I think your question is why are you back here, right? So the reason
Here in Rutherford County, here in Rutherford County, they have not historically worked.
No, well, you've never had a project that's even gone. So you can't say it hasn't worked. You can say, I haven't had a project completed.
Okay, that's fair. The commission's voted on a few, and they haven't panned out. How's that work?
That's perfectly right.
Okay.
And so
Hadn't panned out. Hadn't been one
Yes.
panned out yet. Why do we think this one's going to pan out and the others didn't?
well, you don't quit trying, right? So you keep on going. So you're not out anything. You've still got property that's not making any money for the county or the city. So are you just going to stop? That's not progressive. You're not helping the infrastructure. So this does a lot of things. It brings, you're making $4,000 off the property. You want to always make $4,000 on the property, or would you rather make $2 million on the property? You got schools that need to be built. Do you want to just say, hey, when it comes, it comes? That's that mentality. We've had this conversation.
I know.
I will never get there with you.
And I see the approach, that government can come in and provide tax incentives versus letting the free market work. And eventually it works.
Incentivize the free market to come in areas that they would not come to typically. It's not do it, it's incentivize them because you're wanting to see this downtown function. I think you want the square to be as successful as possible. So to be successful as possible, you want people living in your downtown. And the issue you have here when you compare it to a medical center parkway is here you have infrastructure that's 30, 40 years old that needs to be improved. When I go to Medical Center Parkway, I don't need a TIF because my infrastructure is brand new and I'm tying right to the street. Here, we're probably spending $10 million on just infrastructure improvements on site, not off site. In addition, there's no comps around here. If I'm Medical Center Parkway, I'm comping against 3 TDK projects that are already there. I'm getting rent rates. I'm here downtown. There is not one building that's new that provides multifamily or retail that's been built in how long, other than a bank? 20 years?
So would you say
Yeah, 'cause I'm gonna say this.
depressed is probably too strong a word?
Redeveloped.
No, I'm trying to figure out kind of downtown versus Medical Center Parkway. In other words, this area seems to be a bit more depressed, and what you're trying to do is add these incentives and add the apartments and people to basically provide, I guess, a little bit of growth, a little kickstart to a, I don't want to use necessarily the word depressed, but that's kind of what I mean.
Well, so like Nashville, the reason they focused on the Gulch in East is they don't want to pay the cost to keep running utilities out to the ends in sprawl. So TIF in cities is used to say, hey, people, let's live in where we already got the infrastructure. So if you look through planning over time, you'll see people live in a city, then move out of the city, live in a city, move out of a city. And really what TIF is doing is it's saying, let's move back in the city, opposed to out at Medical Center Parkway or out at, what is the new exit that's getting all the work right now, where Buc-ee's is at, Yeah. So it's trying to stop sprawl too. So it's not depressed. It's redeveloping a place that's been underdeveloped, underutilized, maybe be a better word.
It's more revitalized.
Yes.
Without the TIF, this project probably would not happen, probably would not happen.
No, the TIF makes this pencil in a manner that it works downtown. And without the TIF, it doesn't work. You and I have had this conversation. I have ran 3 models for you, upside down, to the side, and there's no convincing you. And so I'm not even going to try. But I will provide you whatever information you want, Wayne.
And I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we understand that it's not changing the cost of this project? You're just doing it in phases. And I'm most definitely is for it, because that's my district. And it is depressing, and you say TIF doesn't work, but you got a lot of constituents in that district talking and like what they're seeing now, that they are working on that park, and they're working in that area. They're doing physical work where the constituents see it. And I get positive feedback on that project constantly. So based on that, I hope we pass it on to a budget.
Do we want the same neutral, or are we going to go positive on this one? I'm fine with being positive. We'll make sure Commissioner Phillips, I missed your.
Motion was to approve.
Yeah.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Davidson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Irving?
No.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Next, capital projects update.
Wait.
Oh, okay. Okay, another adjustment to the agenda. If there's no complaints about it, I would like to move to number 6, Judicial Building Jury Selection Room, Melissa Harrell. Is that the one we want to move up?
The jury selection room, yes.
Do we have anybody here? Yeah, apparently she couldn't make it. Basically, I'll give you an update and see what we can do, per se. We've had 2 issues over there with the judicial building. First issue was parking, and it took some time, but thanks to Murfreesboro, the parking for the jury selection and all is taken care of. Okay, the second issue is the jury selection room. Basically speaking, I believe they are looking at the paperwork or the resolution or whatever and trying to see who is responsible for setting up the jury selection room for usage. In other words, who is in charge of who come in there and meet in that room. The last report I got from Melissa is that within that jury selection room, we have had leadership relevant meeting and other law organizational functions. The only thing I am questioning, and we really do need to send it to steering, is that I thought whoever used the room, they had to have liability insurance. And that's got to be a plus that they have it. It's my understanding that they're not doing it. They're not even doing the liability insurance. They just meet. And you got that conflict going on over there, so we need to try to sell it. And the only way I see is that we need to possibly send it to steering so we can look at resolutions or whatever, look at any data or anything we got when we build that judicial building to see what we're going to do with this jury selection room. So I'm bringing before you tonight, per se, if and when we can move it on the steering. I understand that we got Judge Turner here tonight. He would like to speak on this jury selection room. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules so we can let him move?
So move.
Move, second. All those in favor? All right, here comes the judge.
Good afternoon, members of the commission. My name is Jimmy Turner. I'm a circuit court judge here in Rutherford County. I preside in the 16th Judicial District, which is Rutherford and Cannon counties. And I have been elected by by the other trial judges to serve as the presiding judge for this judicial district, which does carry some statutory obligations that really we have to convince each other to take that role sometimes. It sounds like a good title. It's sometimes more work and we don't get paid anything extra for it. This is not a new issue, but I wanted to, my colleagues asked that I come up and speak if this was something that you all would find to be informative. But I think knowing what this room is used for is important and places a lot of context. We have a dozen courtrooms in the Judicial Center, and there's certainly room for growth. 6 of those are used as trial courts, where we could have jury trials. The other 6 Well, a couple of them do have the capability of having jury trials, but then some of them don't have a jury box. But there are only 6 judges that hear jury trials, and there are a dozen of those. Well, the jury assembly room, which is on the first floor, if you walk in, it's to your left. It serves a number of purposes. It is actually a courtroom as well. It is outfitted with the same equipment that I have in my courtroom for recording purposes, but there's not a jury box. But you could still conduct hearings in there and non-jury trials. But its primary purpose is for the orientation of jurors, so to explain to them the process of what they need to do to call in and what they should expect during the tenure of their service, which is a month long. Also, it is used for an assembly room for the jurors when they are called to serve on a jury. So if I had a jury trial starting tomorrow, they would meet in that room somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock. From that room, they would go to the appropriate courtroom where the jury trial will be conducted. That is the absolute primary purpose that we use it in that building. Secondary, it is a functioning courtroom, as I mentioned before. We have conducted court proceedings in there probably a dozen or less times because of space, because of availability of other courtrooms. I had one time where my recording equipment went out and all criminal proceedings had to be recorded. Beyond that, it has been used historically for retirement celebrations for judges, because a lot of people in the courthouse want to come to those. It has been used for the local bar association to conduct continuing legal education classes. We had that just last week. It is an annual event. It's one day. Last year, we had the Attorney General for the state of Tennessee speak at it. It was a great event. There is not a room in that building that could accommodate the number of people that come to that. Otherwise, the Bar Association would have had to pay for space. It is also used a couple times for recovery court graduations, which some of you have attended, and I appreciate that. That is historically how it's been used. As far as who has control of the room, there are statutes that apply to this. This body, the County Commission, has statutory control over all county buildings in Tennessee, in this county, including the courthouse. But the sheriff, pursuant to statute, is in charge of the building, serving as your agent. So he's responsible for who comes in and who goes out, and just the general maintenance of the building, not fixing when the air goes out and things of that nature. There are also some other individuals that have control over what happens in that building, including the Court Security Committee, which I'm a member of. Our mayor is a member of. The circuit court clerk, the district attorney general are all members of that, and the sheriff are all members of that committee, and they set rules as it relates to court security in that building and other contexts. The last entity or person that has authority over the building is the presiding judge to promote the efficient use of, let me read it to you. I have it. And I'm probably giving you more than you expected. It is the duty of the presiding judge to promote the orderly and effective administration of justice within the judicial district. Pretty broad statement there. But given that this is a courtroom and it is used for jury functions, which both the circuit court clerk and the chancery clerk and master conduct jury trials. There's less in chancery, but the presiding judge, if there's an issue as it relates to the effective, let me say that again, the orderly and efficient administration of justice within that district, it is incumbent upon the presiding judge to intervene. And so to say that, this is a county building, but it's not as easy to say, this person has to do this and this person has control over this. Now, the clerks and the courts, they have control over their office spaces. That's different. I'm probably giving you way more than you want, and I'd implore you to talk to your county attorney about these particular issues. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about it.
Commissioner Dodd?
Thank you, Chairman. And so is there a concern, an outside party might be given the privilege of meeting, such as Leadership Rutherford, and that party either doesn't clean the room, or that party doesn't have insurance, or who allowed them to come? Do you need a protocol established to do these elements beyond what you described? How can we help you?
Well, this might sound a little harsh, but I deliver harsh news every day. There's some element of this that I think it's a problem or it's a solution in search of a problem. I'll be candid with you. I don't see the problem. Now, there have been problems where people have used the room and it has been left in disarray, or people have left trash. But I'll tell you, the jury assembly room is not unique. People leave trash in my courtroom. So it's not like that's a unique issue with that room. So the way it's been done since I've been presiding judge is the Bar Association contacts me months in advance of their desire to use it, and then I contact the jury coordinator. Is the room available? And I'll tell you, this is a room that is not used 90% of the time. If you walk over there on this is just a number I've come up with, it could be higher. Most days, this room is dark. There's no one in it. It is used 2 days a month for jury orientation. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday prior to the next month. And most jury trials start on a Monday, so it is usually always used on a Monday. Other than that, it is sparsely used. So the bar, they just met for their annual CLE last Friday. They contacted me months ago. Judge, can you help us to secure that room? I contacted the person in the clerk's office that managed the scheduling of that. Is this room being used? No. Can you put us down? Yes. They set up, they broke down, cleaned up, left. Leadership Rutherford, Stephanie Brackman, if you know her, she is in charge of that program. I'm a graduate of that program. They're coming next week. Knowing that this may be an issue, I went ahead and asked one of the other judges, can we use your courtroom instead of the jury assembly room just to avoid any issue in case this body decided to do something that would affect Leadership Rutherford from coming over there. I'll tell you, this is not like the Rotary Club is coming to the courthouse to use it. Leadership Rutherford is coming, they spend the entire day touring all of the, they call it benches and badges. So they go to the jail, they tour the jail, they go to the police department, they go to the courthouse, they do a tour of everything in the county related to the law. And so these aren't random meetings that have nothing to do with the judicial system. They directly are tied to the judicial system and justice in this county. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think it's working fine, but you guys might not. And it's your prerogative, except where it affects the orderly and efficient. I'm not even going to try to say it again, but you all know what I'm saying.
Mr. Chairman, do we want to, I know they have a jury coordinator that basically in some way oversees this room. Do we want some kind of stipulation to go out of here that say, let the jury coordinator keep a calendar, and that way of events coming up, that way the room is used that way? Or what would you like to see come out of this committee?
She's already doing that. But, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I understand completely, Your Honor.
Well, main thing I was looking at is our liability insurance for these outside groups. I thought it was something put in place in the past that they had to have liability insurance or some type of insurance when they utilize that room, outside group. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't make me any difference who uses the room as long as we have our liability insurance or what we need in place just in case something happens. And with my understanding, which was given to me, that liability insurance is not being utilized. So I'm bringing it to you. So if we need to send it to Stern or wherever we need to send it to, we need to make a decision if we're going to let these groups meet without liability insurance. Now,
Your Honor, could your person maybe ask for that for these outside groups and then that be forwarded to like Ed Elam's office?
I don't have a person that does these things.
The jury coordinator, I'm sorry.
And that is not my employee. I don't manage
Okay.
that person. What I would say is that the Constitution of the state of Tennessee commands open courthouses.
Yeah.
So these individuals, the Bar Association, they're lawyers. All of the individuals in this room, whoever, has the constitutional right to enter every courtroom in this state. And so these individuals have the right to access the building. Now, to meet and if there's some liability, then that's your prerogative. And I need to be careful that I'm not advocating for anything here. It may sound like I am. I'm trying to explain the status quo. I am ethically obligated not to advocate for certain things. And so I don't want that to be perceived as what I'm doing today. But as far as I'm not sure I understand how to respond to your question. But if you don't have any other, I want to thank you for your time and attention today. I'm sorry.
I did, well, I was just more of a comment, since this is not really anything in your control, and there is a person that I assume everyone contacts when they want to use this room, then perhaps we can ask our legal counsel if there should be some type of form or some type of liability, or in most other instances, a waiver that says we are not liable if something happens while you're in there for something not pertaining to court. If that's also an option, maybe a waiver instead of show us your liability. The waiver is more, we're not responsible if something happens. But I don't know if that's something our legal can look into for us to, so that person that is the contact for using this space will be able to say, absolutely, the state is open. Either you can provide your own liability, or I'm going to need people to sign this waiver.
okay. Excuse me. Commissioner Johnson?
If you're talking about requiring insurance or something like that, as far as to eliminate our risk, would that go to risk management? I'd like to hear what Ed Elam would have to say about it. He's kind of over that, isn't he?
It's going to be my question. Excuse me for interrupting, but it's going to be my question. Why don't we forward this on to risk management to make a decision with input from our
County attorney?
our county attorney, and let risk management make that decision.
That sounds good. We got the mayor back there. I don't know if he's on that committee. Do you, mayor, would like to say anything about it?
And I'll step down. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for your.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, that's good.
I wasn't expecting to speak, Mr. Chairman. I just came by to say hello, so hello. This issue comes up every year, and it seems, I agree with Judge Turner, it seems to be a problem in searching of a solution. TCA 56101, the county mayor shall be the accounting officer and general agent of the county, and as such, the county mayor shall have the power, and it should be the county mayor's duty to, 1, have the care and custody of all county property, except such as by law placed in the the custody of other officers. So just like this courthouse, it's the responsibility of the mayor's office. I will say that we, in this particular building, we regularly, not regularly, but it's not uncommon for us to have a chamber event here or some other civic type of group. We've had prayer vigils in here, numerous occasions. Rachel in the office, as well as Carla, I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, do a phenomenal job vetting that. We've not, in the 3 years that I've been there, had a single instance where we ever thought that we needed somebody to provide liability insurance. That's not to say that we wouldn't, but I'm just telling you, they do an excellent job vetting that, and just to be candid, it's not necessary. So we take the same position over there. I rely, the mayor's office, rely on the judges to kind of tell us, to manage our expectations so that it's a county building, we can make it available as they deem appropriate for the purpose for which that building was intended. And they do a good job with that. And so I'm back to the original point that I want to reemphasize that Judge Turner made. I don't know what the problem is. And so unless you can help me unpack what the problem is, did we have an incident or an occasion where something broke such that it required, or we should have required insurance, or we should have required additional oversight? I'm all ears. I honestly, ladies and gentlemen, don't know what that is. I just don't know. And so I think I want to defer to the judge and to the judges. That facility over there, and Chairman Phillips, you'll remember, I think it was like we spent $50 million on it 10, 12 years ago, something like that. I'm sorry?
84 with the
Wow, it's
84 with the parking garage.
That makes my point even better. It's in incredible shape. It is in still really good condition. And I want to give credit to the judges and to the clerks and to our maintenance department. And so if, gentlemen, ladies, if it's not broke, let's not fix something that's not broke. So that's all I have to say about that. I have a question.
My only question, it kind of goes back to it. Let's refer this to risk management and just get input from them, let them make the decision and be done with it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor.
That's my motion.
Motion to refer to risk management and the county attorney. We got a second. Do you want that brought back to this committee?
Let them make the decision. Let risk management make the decision.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is capital projects update.
So I'm Eric Hennessy, Chief of Staff. This should be not new news to anyone here. The County Mayor's Office has for some time been trying to compile a list of potential capital improvement projects that the county needs to make going forward. Before we get into that, I would like to start by letting everyone know that one of the projects that has just recently been completed is the new Public Health and Safety Building out in Plainview, and the flag raising on that will be on November the 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. Okay, so this is some of the current projects that we have. I'm sure Director Dodd will be providing more information as to the specifics of some of these projects, so I won't go into as much detail on, say, the Forensic Center or EMS station. The 814 building, which is the one on the far right, that is the building that was given to the county by the school board. And the preliminary information that we have been receiving from people who have looked at this building, Director Dodd and others, is that the way it looks at this point, probably the cost to renovate this building and get it into something that the county could actually use is more than it would be worth spending. Part of this property, we found out, is in a floodplain in the back, so that would limit some of what the county would be able to do with the property. We haven't, it's still on the list. It's still something that we're looking at, and as we get more information, we will provide that to this committee. Yes. My understanding is that it's yes, it is. I know the school board made the vote to give it back to us a couple of months ago.
So is the plan to sell it?
Not yet, but potentially, yes.
Any idea of what we could get for it?
I'm sorry?
Any idea of what we could get for it?
At this point in time, we're still trying to gather some of that information. All right, next, we've got a couple of projects here. The Bank of America building that everyone is aware of. We will present the findings that we have gotten from all of the due diligence that we have been doing on this building at the November meeting. I can say that I've spoke to some people. There's good things and bad things, and so we will have all of the reports by the November meeting and can present those to this committee.
Eric, if possible, could we get them in advance of the meeting?
Sure, yeah. I don't have them myself currently, not all of them anyways.
I was just asking maybe a week before, that way we'd have a chance.
Sure.
Thank you.
No problem. The other thing we have here is that in the middle, I don't know where it went. The photo in the middle, that is the expansion that we did to the recovery court. That was part of a two-phase process. That is phase one. Phase two is we're actually starting on part of that. We've sent out an RFP for upgrading the HVAC system, or it's about to be sent out. It's close. That a large portion of those HVAC replacement will be paid for by a grant that we received last year. And then to the right, the right photo on the right, we're always looking at the potential for roadway improvements as those come along. All right, so this is something that I wanted to speak to you about tonight because this is new information. What I've told you up until now, you've probably heard me say it several times. Before I do that, I would like to start out, if you would notice in the right upper corner of these next couple of slides, you will see photographs of animals that are currently available at Paws for adoption. So if you see one on there that you like, you're more than welcome to go out to Paws. I'm sure they will help you out there. So to put it blunt and to say shortly, Paws is out of space. And that problem is made worse by the fact that they're essentially landlocked. There's not really much space for them to go outside of kind of their current footprint in some instances. I will show you over the next couple of slides a few examples of what I'm talking about, but everybody knows where this is located. It's over there by the corner near the Lane Agri Center. And I do have Michael Gregory here, so once I get finished with my presentation, I'm going to ask him if it's okay with the committee to come up, and I'm going to try to show you photographically what some of the problems are, and then I'm going to let him explain to you how that affects his operations. So, as you can see here, we've got several rooms with multiple people in them that are, this one here is a space that we currently have 7 employees working in, and the room was probably designed for no more than 2 employees. And so I will let Director Gregory explain to you how that affects their operations. And also, again, here's another pup. If anybody's interested, you can. All right, here is a this is some of the space usage. The left-hand corner is some of the kennels for cats and things, and sometimes those are full and there's nowhere else to go. I will say I would like to stop here for a moment, and I should have done this to begin with, and thank Lisa Kay for going over to Paul's earlier this week and taking all of these photographs for us. But you can see that some of the spaces, you're using cubicles, they're crammed in hallways, those kinds of things. And not only is it the employees that are working there, but we also need more space for the vet services that we do. As everyone knows, we now have 2 vets, and that space is getting tight. And that is, I'm going to steal your thunder, that is sort of a limiting factor in what the services we are able to provide. So here we've got a cat that's also available for adoption, or at least was a couple of days ago. And this is another example of, if you look at the left-hand side, that is the drop-off or intake for strays and and surrenders. And as you can see, they've actually just put a divider in between there, and you've got 2 people working in that small space. And that sometimes does create issues whenever you have multiple people in there with multiple animals at one time trying to drop off those animals. In the rest of these photographs, these are multiple people. I think 4 people work in this one little room that's probably better suited for one person to be in there working to be effective. I'm just providing a little bit of the problem. I don't, unfortunately, have a solution tonight, but I think what we're trying to do in creating this capital improvements list is identify our problems and then put them on the list, and then the mayor's office, in combination with the commission, deciding what are our priorities and where do we want to move these items up and down on this list. And then, Wayne, once we get ready to build these items, we will go ahead and take that to budget and get a budget approval before we proceed forward with building any of the items on the capital improvements list. This is, again, just trying to identify what things might need to be built in the next 6 years or so. All right, so this is something that you have seen in previous examples, previous slides. There are a few things that have changed on here. We'll say that we've now created a section that says unknown. Roadway infrastructure, probably better if that was under a category that said ongoing, because that's just as we identify those items, that those would be placed in the list of where they best fit. The pause expansion, again, I'm bringing that to you tonight. We realize that there's a problem there. We realize that there's a need, but we haven't really identified where exactly that needs to go in our capital improvement plan. The First Responders Administration Building, that is the 814 South Church that we just spoke about a few moments ago, and we're kind of pausing on that one for a moment until we can gather some additional information as far as where the mayor's office believes it should go in the list. And then last, you'll see the Laverne Convenience Center. It's of no secret, I don't think, to anyone in here that we can't find land in Laverne to build a convenience center. I was actually talking to Commissioner Johnson before the meeting today and told him that today, actually, I was online looking for property. The same 2 pieces of property that have been for sale in Laverne are the only 2 pieces of property that are listed on Realtor.com. I stepped outside of Laverne even and started looking in Smyrna to see if there was anything kind of adjacent to Laverne. There's one property that I thought maybe was decent, but then in speaking with Mayor Cole and Commissioner Johnson, it's probably too far out. for it to be effective for Laverne. So I've not been able to identify any parcels. Commissioner Davidson and I have been speaking about this. She has, on my behalf, on the mayor's behalf, reached out to some property owners in Laverne. We haven't been successful at that yet. She did provide a couple of phone numbers, and I will admit I forgot to call them, but I will get that done tomorrow and see if there's anything there. But we have not been able to identify any piece of property in Laverne as of yet, and that is why we have moved that from a 0 to 1 year construction start date to an unknown start date, because we can't build the convenience center until we're able to identify land suitable to build that convenience center. Okay, so this is for Commissioner Dodd. He had provided me, he had provided me the Rutherford County Schools capital improvement plan and the way that they kind of lay those things out. And so the mayor's office, the last few weeks, has kind of started putting the capital improvement projects that are otherwise on the list in a format that is similar to what Rutherford County Schools, so that it's seamless. You can look at the schools projects and you can look at the county general projects, and you're getting primarily the same data. Obviously, there are lines in there that we have not filled out yet. Again, this was just a first start of trying to extrapolate some of the data and putting it into the right column. And, the mayor's office would look forward to any help that anyone of the commissioners on the committee has as far as some of these breakdowns, if you have insight into that. And then again, that's just the schools spreadsheet that we kind of modeled off of. And at that point in time, that's my presentation. I would ask that Michael Gregory get to speak after any questions.
Eric, how many square feet is the Paul's building?
15,000?
You want to have him come on up now? Mr. Douglas, come on up, maybe answer that question.
While Michael's coming up, are we suggesting that the Pause Center right now is inadequate for us to expand, and we're looking at potentially building an entirely new animal shelter pause facility?
That is one option, but I don't think that's the only option. I think there may be a way, at least Director Dodd has said there might be a way that we can, even with the landlocked area that we have, expand to one side, maybe by not attaching to the current building, but a standalone building that is adjacent to it.
Michael, can you answer that question on square footage?
Yes. Currently, the building is 15,000 square foot. It was built they moved in December of 2004, so we've been there for 21 years. Of course, when we moved in, the population was 185,000. Population now is more than double that, so we're looking close to 400,000. The biggest thing that's changed throughout that time has been, as the population has grown, we've had to add more people to be able to manage the workload. And of course, we've got them in every place that you can see. The pictures don't necessarily give justice to some of the areas that we have some of these folks working in, and it's just not conducive to do business anymore. You asked Commissioner Phillips regarding a new location, a completely new shelter or whatnot. As Eric said, Adam's come out a couple of different occasions and kind of looking to see what options would be available to kind of think outside of the box within the current footprint that we have. We have 2.31 acres there. So Eric had talked about maybe a standalone building that somehow connects through a breezeway or something like that. So those are some options that we're looking at to see how feasible those would be at this time.
Other nearby counties, such as Williamson County, what does their shelter look like compared to ours?
Well, I have a breakdown of two that we are close to. So Williamson County, they built a new shelter. I believe they moved in 2023.
Their shelter was 35,000 square feet, and it was a cost at that time of $17 million. Montgomery County recently moved into a new shelter, I believe it was in September, that we toured a couple of weeks ago. Theirs was 22,000 square feet, and it cost $17.5, so, construction's gone up. But their population is still, 100 to 150 below us as far as the people that they're serving. In 2004, I think the biggest thing at that point, and Commissioner Phillips, you correct me if I'm wrong, we were over at Haley at that point. That was well before my time. And obviously, they had to get out of there. It was pretty deplorable over there. And if the facility was built at that time, I think kind of served those needs in for a little bit. But the growth that we've experienced in those last 21 years has just been astronomical. And us being landlocked has really hurt us.
Commissioner Dodd?
Thank you. And part of this is a commentary on how this program, the CIP, may work, right? I mean, so what committee do you report to?
Public safety is my initial committee.
Okay, so public safety. And again, I'm just thinking out loud in my hope to how the CIP could be used. We hear about this, which is great information, and this is an appropriate place to put it. But I would hope this program that's brand new would work is, all right, present to public safety, which I'm sure you're going to do. Present to public safety because they're familiar with your mission. I don't even know your mission. I'm like, well, take less animals. You see what I'm saying? I know nothing about your mission. So perhaps Eric and Mayor Carr may envision this, that ultimately public safety would hear this. Public safety would help us understand the square footage. Is the mission being, do you change the mission or do you add a new building or do you? And then we're going to see it further down the road where it populates the list. Is that how you see it, Eric, to some degree?
So, yes, yes, the short answer. I think what we've been trying to do for the last 2 or 3 months is actually just create a list and get some buy-in from the commission. As this is the mayor's list. This is the mayor's office list, and do you agree that these are the items that we need to be identifying? Do you think that there's another opportunity that the county needs to be looking at? I think that's kind of where we've been, and we're kind of getting to the end of that stage as the mayor's office kind of creates this spreadsheet. Then I think we kind of, at that point in time, we will kind of have some more information, some more data, and then we can really start looking at, okay, pause before wasn't on the list, it is now, and really we've looked at it, and this needs to be number 1 or number 2 or number 10, wherever it needs to go. And at that point, yes, I think that once we have the list, we would say, hey guys, this is property management. Do you agree? You say yes, okay, we're going to public safety, and start that process that will go from public safety to budget and then to the full commission.
And so our procedure moving forward as we massage this would not be to debate the necessity tonight or to debate the square footage, which is new ground for us. I mean, usually we hear a building, we better start saying how much is it going to cost, because historically, next month we could have somebody present us a proposal to build the darn building, which is way out of order, so I'm grateful to see this progress. I think this is tremendous progress.
Thank you.
And just for the committee, I feel no compunction to take action except to absorb information and to ultimately, Michael, you had to come up here tonight, perhaps in the future, Eric present, you don't have to burn another night, you present to public safety, they present. I don't know how this program is going to work, but thank you for advancing it to this. I look forward to having a list populated that we can contemplate and us help prioritize instead of being told what's the priority. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I hope that by when we come back next month that this spreadsheet is a little more filled in, and then that would start the debate of how are we going to number these.
And there's probably 30 or 40 million already on it, But again, there's no priority of, you're not asking us to consider spending $30 million tonight. You're not asking us, it's simply, when there is an ask, we have something, a database to compare it to of who else is asking, what's on the horizon, what's the total gross dollars conceivable over a 6-year period. So this is a tool for planning, not for making a decision tonight or any given night on a project. So
Yeah, I think you're right in that what has happened in the past is somebody comes forward and says, I have this need. I need you to vote yes for this. We're going to budget. We're going to purchasing. We're done. And so what the mayor's office is trying to do is, hey, let's take a step back. Let's kind of populate everything and then prioritize. I'm not saying that any building that the county has built shouldn't have been built when it was built. They may have already all been number one at the time that they were built. But we didn't know that until we get something like this where we can prioritize those needs. And, things, as I showed on this slide, sometimes things move as far as priorities are concerned. And so what you may think is we need to start building this tomorrow. Well, you can't find the dirt. If you can't find the dirt, you can't start building. So you kind of have to, well, if we can't do that, let's kind of hold off on that one. And what's the next priority? Okay, well, this is the next priority, and then start that conversation. And while you're still continuing to look for the dirt in Laverne or something to that effect.
Yep, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Irvin?
I want to echo what Phil's saying. I mean, this is an excellent start, just in terms of beginning to put together the priorities, not on the capital improvement side. I would also encourage, either in the same list or right under it, a similar list, things like the jail and other, really high value eventual targets.
Sorry, I don't know if I'm on the mic. If you look on this one,
Where am I?
right there, under 2 to 3 years, adult detention center is on there.
Okay, so that's going to be the jail. Okay,
Yes.
Sorry.
I ain't ready to say.
Okay, all right. So, and we have that down for, well, not near what I would think it would cost. I think that's what threw me candidly. But, and there's some other numbers that might need a quick look also.
No,
That's 1.4, and there's a couple other numbers you might want to take a look at also.
You know what, I think that a number got transposed. The $300 million number
Isn't Goldstein.
should have been the adult detention center.
Fair enough.
So we will fix that. As I said, we've just kind of put this together and started trying to put in numbers as we had them. But yeah, that $300 million is in the wrong line.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I was just trying to assess this, and then I think it's a great idea to include the schools so we can try to understand what's coming down the pike. I think that's an excellent job, again, by Commissioner Chairman Dodd.
So I believe that this is old data. This is last year's data. It's an example of what the schools do. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they bring this to Health and Ed every year, and it is looked at every year in Health and Ed. So this is something that's already been doing. The mayor's office is just trying to model what the schools have already been doing.
Any other questions?
I have
Commissioner Dodd?
a closing comment, if I may, Chairman. There's a roadway infrastructure on the CIP. I did speak to Director Cody York today, and he has tasked a project manager with the IT department to gather data from various databases that we can perhaps utilize in the county to begin. How do we prioritize roadway needs, whether it's crash data, curvature, horizontal and vertical curvature data, or car count data? And we're trying to see, instead of having to recreate it, can we grab some data that's already out there and have a roadway priority? And so that is I just wanted to share with this committee, that's an ongoing, active program to try to have roadway infrastructure as a line item.
part of that, I'm just curious, so, example, in my district, just came through right as I was coming on at 840 in Sulphur Springs. So the traffic study that came out on that is making widening of 840 exits. They're gonna have to have 2 lanes instead of 1 coming off those, or gonna have to widen the whole intersection, everything else. They're gonna have to put a traffic light at Sulphur Springs and Leanna Road. There's a bend, it's a wagon road, so it's got a big bend in it that really needs to be straightened out to make the whole thing cohesive, to be able to flow better and everything else. And obviously, we've got a lot of, traffic data, would that be something y'all could look at as too when we get these traffic studies? Would help us make our improvements to something that the developer has to do the road improvements, but that 0.1 acre of land, of area really needs to be improved.
Yeah, and the one part of the conversation is how can we capture the, I'll say dozens, I don't know if it's hundreds of traffic studies that are compelled onto the developer to do with current data, real-time data, and future predictable data with the third party that's representing us now, Neil Schaefer and Greg Judy, I believe his name is. And we're trying to create a way to overlay that study that's being financed by someone else that could be placed on ours to use. But where do we pick up where that study ends, may be your question. How do we go for where that study ends and move on? And we're looking at GNRC and some other databases that are, maybe we can coalesce all that into a plan to tie into the latest study from that Sulphur Springs industrial project, for instance.
If you want a guinea pig, I'd love for that to be the first project that happens. So it would be great.
And that's the point. So you've got energy, motivation in your district, on the road you travel, and someone else might. And I'd like to have data support who goes first, rather than the assertive personality of a commissioner that might win the day. So I think that is a good candidate.
So you want to see road projects added to this?
No, sir, it was acknowledging to this committee, it's already on there. And it has some momentum that could make it a more viable part of our decision-making and meet our constituents' concerns about traffic. It's ahead of solid waste and growth is traffic as a topic. Well, we're trying to find what is it? What's the problem? And are there solutions? So,
and I think there is one project that is already listed there.
Yeah,
the
Walter Hill Bridge.
Collaboration, the Walter Hill Bridge area, and Jefferson Pike. So that's one that's been identified that is actually on the list. And then if you look under the unknown roadway infrastructure, as again, that's probably better in the category of ongoing. Just as we can identify those items, they would be put into the list of wherever they need to be.
Okay. Any other questions? Commissioner Davidson?
It's been a while, and I don't know if I just missed it, but anything on the Singer Road property, did we sell it? Is it still for sale? Have we done anything?
It's still for sale. I think most of the due diligence has been back on that. We found out it's a brownfield site. We have searched out some grants that could assist with that, but we need, my understanding anyways from the conversations the mayor's office had with the state, is we need a buyer who's willing to say, okay, this is the building I want to build. The county could then apply for grants and get the funding to mediate the brownfield site, but we don't have a buyer at this point in time. It is still for sale by the Chamber of Commerce.
Any other questions? If not, thank you for that update. Good job.
Eric, the way I understand kind of this spreadsheet is that, in essence, a department head or a department can actually come to the mayor and say, we have needs, and then the mayor will in essence put it on the list, and then from there it should start working through the committee process. So
yeah, or the department heads, and in this instance, that's where the pause came from.
Right.
I think the facilities maintenance department, they kind of identify some things from just their use of and maintaining the current buildings structures. They've kind of identified some things as well. So anybody that has a need that they think needs to be put on the list can obviously contact the mayor's office, and it'll be evaluated and looked at.
Yeah, but after that, and Paul's is the perfect example. So Paul's identified a need, took it to the mayor's office, put it on the list. From there, it needs to go somewhere and does something. So at that point in time, it goes through the committee process for exploration.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. So yes, so this list, as we get it filled out better, that's going to be presented monthly to property management. And so, you know, if there needs to be debate on, hey, we've got this listed as first, and the committee wants to debate if that should be first or second or 10th, you know, we can obviously do that. And then once we've identified a project and we've identified a way to pay for that project, then it starts through the remainder of the committee process. I think I envision this being something where property management is talking about this and kind of setting, you know, the way that, you know, if you agree with the mayor's office, great, and we can kind of start going from there and trying to identify funding.
So once again, I'm going to try to rephrase what you just said. Paul's identified a need.
Yes.
And brought it to the mayor. The mayor agrees with that need, puts it on the list. From there, it comes to property management. Property management looks at it and says, yeah, there's a need. And then from there, it starts going through the committee process, and the committee process will identify kind of the timeline or the ongoing process. So it'll happen in some phases like that. So once again, identify the need, mayor approves, or at least puts it on a list, and from there it starts going through the committee process to make a determination that the need is valid, and then put the timeline together through the committee process.
I think we're saying roughly the same thing, yes.
Are you saying something different than what I just said?
No, I think the only difference is I think the debate of priority would probably take place more in property management. And then when we've said, okay, this is the priority, and we start looking at whatever's number one on that list, then that goes through the committee process to decide if the remainder of the commission thinks that that is a priority or not.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Eric.
Okay, so we have another item here as well as 4A. I don't know if you will recall, but it's probably been about 3 months ago now, we came in and handed out copies of 4 proposals that we had received in purchasing for an architect. The RFQ that was sent out was primarily, this was for an expansion and remodel of the Juvenile Justice Center, the court space, as I believe Judge Lampley has identified as an issue. And so I will say that the mayor's office and Director Dodd have looked at these 4 proposals that we received. Our summation is that all 4 of these firms would meet the minimum standard requirements. This also was sent from purchasing to the PBA. The PBA has looked at these 4 and sent an email that said they as well agree that all 4 meet the standard minimum requirements. So purchasing also sent it to this committee for you all to look at this and determine you can do as others have done and just say, yeah, they all meet the standard minimum, they all hit the floor. Or if you so choose, you can rank them and send a recommendation back of, we think this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, or, anything else that I guess you decide to do anywhere in between those. If there's some that you don't think meet the minimum, then you could send back and say, well, we believe these 2 do and those 2 don't, or however you would want to do that. But I think the purchasing committee, Chairman, correct me if I'm wrong, is waiting on a recommendation from this committee as far as how you view these 4. Commissioner Johnson, I think, did I get that right?
Any discussion? Commissioner Dodd?
Thank you, Chairman. You expect a recommendation tonight?
Well, kind of, yeah. That's why we passed these out about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make a motion yet, but I'm a big advocate for Kline, Sweeney and Associates. Their presence, their decades of service to the county, their awareness of the environment of Middle Tennessee, from forensics to educational to judicial to administrative. If we're going to, I would like this committee to consider Kline Sweeney as the primary architect of choice. At least rank them as number 1 if we're going to do a ranking to give purchasing some authority. So I don't know how this committee wants to do it, but I hope that may turn into a motion, but I digress.
And I see some of you have the things that we passed out. Just to go over for those in the viewing audience, the 4 that we received were Cope Architecture, Kline Sweeney and Associates, Johnson Bailey Architects, and KDGI.
So
Commissioner Davis?
we've had these for a while. I'm curious, I'm hoping everybody, I don't know if you got copies, but I'm hoping everybody did their homework. I believe you told us this was homework. And I kind of feel like it's just going to be pushing it on down the road if we just rank them and send it back through. If they're waiting for us to give a recommendation, then I'm kind of with Commissioner Dodd that we just choose.
Yeah, so the process and the way that this is going to work is that the purchasing committee is the selection committee. So they're the ones that will ultimately make this decision. The recommendations from the various groups will come back to purchasing at the next meeting if movement is made in property management tonight. And then we would probably then have to go to the next meeting and have an interview process if there was more than one that was selected that needed to be, or that purchasing decided that there needed to be more than one interviewed, and that would probably go to the December meeting.
Is there any kind of precedent in the past of how this has gone? Is
No.
this the first time doing this?
Yes, this is the first time.
First time.
I'm with them. I've looked over them as well, and I know there's a working relationship already with them. But if Mr. Dodd don't want to make the motion, I'll be glad to make the motion that we forward Kline and Sweeney to the purchasing committee.
Kline and Sweeney as the primary,
Our side took that as a motion.
Yeah, he said it was a motion.
Very good.
And just for clarity, that is a recommendation that Kline Sweeney be selected as the architect.
As the primary. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I say call the roll.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Davidson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips? Commissioner Irvin? Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, well, I'll be back under other business.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Facilities Maintenance Report, Director Dodd. Somebody wake him up back there?
Mine just says PowerPoint. I'll let you click it on. That's it, on the far right. Yeah, huh? Yes, that's it. Thank you. Chairman, you may proceed.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'll get right to it. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. I'll start tonight's report off with the Regional Forensic Center. Our last OAC meeting was held October the 21st, 2025. Site work pertaining to stormwater is ongoing. Retaining pond structures are now complete. In-ground plumbing and inspections were completed this week. Underground electrical rough-in is 99% complete. MTE primary power, the pole has now been set on site and had passed inspections. Footing and structural pillar formwork and pours are now complete. We now can account for all the structural steel to site. Steel columns, joist, and decking work are now ongoing.
Any questions on Forensic Center? Are they on schedule?
Well, our 4 weeks look ahead is going to primarily consist of what you're seeing there in that photo. It'll be a continuation. CMU work, preparation for slab on grade, scheduling and delivery from Middle Tennessee Electric of the transformer to be delivered to site. Currently, there are no delays or open change orders to report. And that will complete this month's report on the Forensic Center.
Any questions?
That is the schedule. I thought maybe you guys would want to see that. They are on schedule. As I stated earlier, there are no delays at this time. So tonight I wanted to show you kind of give you an idea of what the potential and future EMS stations will look like. This is the potential design that KSA has been working on for our Weekly Lane location. This design is intended to be for all future stations. It's based on a modification of an existing station that's located near MTSU. Brian and his staff feel that this design meets the immediate and long-term requirements. The new design is approximately 2,860 square foot. It mirrors aspects of the public health and safety building that have already proven over the last 3 years successful. For example, large open concept kitchen and living areas, 2 dedicated shower rooms that are separate from the restrooms, isolated mechanical and secured MDF room, enlarged bays to accommodate current and future ambulance chassis as they change in design. It will incorporate a tornado shelter for employees to meet some essential services code requirements as first responders. The architect anticipates completed construction documents and pricing by late December. Potential bidding process by the end of January.
I might or might not revisit this project next month. It depends on the progress that the architect makes throughout this next month. But I just wanted you to see that we're getting close on the design. Do you have any questions about the EMS station?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Dodd?
is PBA building this one?
Not to
Okay.
my knowledge.
And the design is a concept, the outside, the facade, was a concept that could become a model if we're going to build freestanding stations.
Absolutely. This will be handled in the same manner that public health and safety. They were built consecutive off of the same original design, just duplicated.
And who will be observing the design and critiquing that? Which committee? Or what body? Public safety be ultimately selecting that design that will become the template for future EMSs?
It's my understanding that this design has already been approved.
By whom?
I'm not sure.
I didn't mean to set you up.
No, I'm not sure.
Mr. Johnson?
With all the input, all the experts' opinions, is this building large enough? Because I'm thinking I was hearing that we needed a third bay, or am I wrong? Or we possibly needed a third bay?
If I'm not mistaken, we inquired about the third bay, and I believe KSA referenced that this design is an expandable design. That's why there's no parking, there's no utilities on that side, so that it can be easily expanded in the future. It's not living space, so it's a fairly easy design and expansion.
Commissioner Johnson?
My thought is every time we build a building too small, and then we go back and add on, it always costs us more than it would have in the original design. Personally, I'd rather see it be built big enough as, in the beginning.
It's almost one of those thoughts, like how big are you going to build a school? At some point in time, you build an additional station to where the population is. It's like Laverne Station versus the Smyrna Station. And if it needs to be expanded, I think it can be expanded. But in order to probably meet the needs of growth, there would be another station built closer to where that growth is, instead of expanding this one. The one out at MTSU has been there as long as I can remember, and it's smaller than this one. And that area has grown by leaps and bounds, and it still meets the needs of those folks.
Is there a reserve, or this is before I got on here, this committee, but is there a reserve or approximate cost of what we're looking at spending on this building?
The preliminary numbers that we were given were around 1.4 million. We should have something. We should have some pricing back from the architect in sometime in December, mid to late December. That is the anticipated date that KSA has given us to complete their pricing phase, so that we can bring you a solid budget number.
And Commissioner Hall, sorry, Mr. Chairman, may I?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I envision this, to piggyback on Eric's presentation, I envision public safety having EMS stations on a list that they may need one in Laverne and wherever. Christiana, wherever, and then population growth may shift and the location may shift with it. So I'd like to see a few of these perhaps on the CIP.
I agree. Just in finding out, like Paul's and others, I did a kind of a commercial search of Rutherford County, see what commercial properties are available, and popped up just right down the road at 410 Weekly Lane is a 12,400 square foot building for $3 million that has, it's an industrial area, so it's got bays in it, an office area, but it's not going to be big enough for maybe the first responders building, but it just came to mind, so I was curious what they wanted to spend on this. It's within a quarter of a mile of where this location is, and it's done and finished.
Any other discussion?
Okay, so we had a very busy October. We had an interesting October. So the 20 North RTU replacement, that mechanical replacement started and finished the week of October the 13th through the 17th as scheduled. The bid was awarded to MRG and Nashville Machine Company late last year. Representatives from each company PM'd and were on site throughout the duration of this project. It was a successful replacement and installation with no damage reported. Some minor electrical upgrades had to be completed, and some to some existing switchgear. The unit and breaker replacement are now complete. CS3 Mechanical has now completed the building controls and automations programming. Testing and monitoring are ongoing, and the building department operations are normal.
Any questions?
I do.
Cost.
The awarded, sir? I believe we awarded MRG $336,000 on that project. And that was including the electrical, the project management, and the cost of the RTU. Rooftop unit. Finally tonight, as far as the PowerPoint is concerned, a few months back, it was brought up in this committee as well as I think another committee. The 112 G Street Convenience Center there in Smyrna, the mayor's office has decided to pursue some minor modifications to this convenience center located there in Smyrna. The modifications will include one additional queuing lane, new directional striping, and some signage and speed bumps to help create a safe and more efficient center for citizens and employees. After receiving quotes, we will be able to complete these site improvements collectively, outsourcing a portion of it, obviously, with the road for approximately $20,000. Scheduling and start times have not been determined at this time. And I'll update this committee as soon as I know an approximate start time. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you have about this convenience center.
I got one question. Do Public Works know about this?
Yes.
You have been presented with this?
Yes. I think we've had two site meetings, and I know I just spoke with Matt, the interim, this week, and he is supposed to be contacting, I believe it's Moody Construction, to get some preliminary dates scheduled.
Any questions?
I'd just like to say
Commissioner Johnson?
I met out at this location with Matt and Director Dodd, and I I really appreciate them, their collaboration on this and moving this along, because it's been needed. It needed to open like that.
Yeah.
And, that's water under the bridge, but finally going to get it going like it's supposed to be. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate Matt's due diligence on this and his cooperation. Willingness, he's willing to listen and give his feedback too. He doesn't mind standing toe to toe and giving you feedback, and I like that. But it's a big change in what we've had. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. The mayor took a hands-on approach with this when we repeatedly brought this to his attention. We had some site visits with him as well, and he got to see it's a high traffic area. It does need some improvements. Some of the improvements are minor, but they will go a long way from an efficiency standpoint. So finally, Eric mentioned the recovery court project. He is correct. The HVAC mechanical upgrade, the majority of that, almost $80,000 of what I anticipate being around $110,000 for that mechanical upgrade there at recovery court. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I think it's 3 5-tons and 3 4-tons. There's a mini split that does some space in the second level. That's anticipated to go out to bid next week. Is that correct? Send that out for bid next week. And I am almost complete with the construction specs as far as what type of to the extent of the interior renovations that will go into that second phase. So we probably won't see construction. I have tentatively wrote down December to go to bid on that, pending the specs go out, but probably early spring of 26 when we actually start construction on phase 2. The only other mechanical upgrades that we have ongoing right now is we have been assisting the health department, Miss Sydney, with her HVAC mechanical upgrades, and this was also a grant that they were awarded. So those bids went out last month, and the purchasing committee will be awarding November the 12th on that project. Sorry, guys, I'm going through the list. If you have any questions about any of these projects or building improvements, please stop me. We are still looking at the Kittrell Board of Education building. Still doing some preliminary pricing. We're going to revisit that project again early spring. So Eric has already briefed you on the South Church Street location, Juvenile Justice Center expansion, Paul's. And that is all I have for you this evening. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Director, can you give us an update on Bank of America building engineering?
Yes, we have, Bank of America, we have gathered a portion of the reports that we sent out, but we have not gathered all of the reports. So that is what we're waiting for patiently. Those reports are due this week, correct? Early next week is what Mr. Warren said. So as soon as we get, and that's really the heart of it. Mr. Warren's report is going to be the heart of it. That's your structure. That's going to be all your mechanical. That's going to be your electrical, your big ticket items. So I think we have I think we have some environmental stuff that's come back with Greg's and Maloney. I think we have a roof report. Nothing, nothing significant, but we are anticipating Mr. Warren's report. So I know that will be complete by this time next month to present. 28,000.
Any questions?
Oh, and just finally, I know tonight, it was mentioned that Paul's was 15,000 square foot, but I'm showing it's about 16,000 square foot. Just to be specific.
Okay.
Adam, could you speak about the jail? I know in public safety, we're on a 5-year clock now that we've got to have a new jail because of the federal system. What's going to be the process as far as here at property management? Are we looking for land presently, or what do we got to do to get the ball rolling on this?
Commissioner, I have not, I guess this early in the state, in that design or those conversations, I have not been included in any of the jail discussions.
I can answer that for you. We are still in the information gathering process. It will be coming to public safety once everything has been amassed.
Any questions? Any other questions? Right, thank you, Director.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a good evening.
Next, Courthouse Security. And this was brought up by a couple of commissioners at our last commissioner meeting. We had a crowd in here, but the crowd had backpacks and several other items. And in looking at the security of that situation, and we are in the process of looking at it now, is that we are going to have signs made up that says your bags will be checked, and the bags will be checked, and hopefully we hadn't got all our details worked out with the sheriff department on how we're going to do it, but as soon as we get the signs made up and out to the public that bags will be checked, then we'll proceed on from there. But we are in the process of doing more to secure this building than what we have in the past, based on the last 2 commissioner meetings, with the number of backpacks, and all the equipment or whatever that's being brought in here. So it's ongoing, and hopefully we can give you a more detailed report at the next meeting. Any questions? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I know we have security up here for the commission, but it seems like it's very rare that we have security up here for our committee meetings. Our committee meetings are often the start of the fire, and before it gets to the commission. So I know the first night that I was chair of Public Works, I had a gentleman come up and get in my face afterwards. He was totally out of line, and I was nice to him, but he kept getting louder and louder. There was no security here, but thankfully, several of our county employees, kind of buff, and they came out of the woodwork. I didn't even know they were around, and kind of surrounded him and de-escalated. So I felt good about that, but I'd feel really good or better if we did have at least one Sheriff's Patrol officer up here. We could look into that along with this other.
No, I don't see no problem with that. We can just add that to the complete security package for this building. And we will be ongoing on that. Hopefully, by next month, we can have a detailed report to bring back to you. But the, the initial part that we got to do is we got to make the signs and post the signs. And so once we made the sign, I'll probably bring a sign as an example up here. Let each one of you look at it and make changes to the sign or whatever we need to do, and then we'll proceed on from there. Commissioner Phillips?
Just to kind of bring you up to date, with conversations with the Sheriff's Department, they're supposed to have a deputy here at every meeting. Usually it's not a problem. Budget, public safety, and a couple of others, they always have information to disseminate to those committees, so the sheriff or one of his chiefs are always here during that, but they were committed to supply a deputy, and I'm looking around, and I don't see one tonight, but I usually do see that are here, Anthony, and I'll follow up with the sheriff here about why someone was not here tonight. They're supposed to be doing that. Some of those security measures are not public information, so that it won't be easy for folks to get around some of those security measures, but there's supposed to be a deputy here. I don't see one. And if you'll also remember, there are Murfreesboro Police Department people that have been out within the
Patrol and walking.
For the last couple of months,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how long they'll be there, but they've been there as well. But I agree with you 100%. Security is something that is becoming more and more important. So following up on that, especially through our Public Safety Committee, would also be very important, don't you think, Laura?
I've noticed the extra security that's been put on by the Murfreesboro Police Department out around the square, and I really appreciate that. That makes everybody feel better, and it cuts down on a lot of just mischief that's been going on that shouldn't have been to start with, but them being out there, all they do is come in and call the ammo for me. You know, that's a little late, so... But I appreciate your comments and you looking into that.
Okay, hopefully, like I stated, by next month, we have a sign that you can look at and get your approval before we start permanently putting up these signs at entrances. Any other question on the courthouse security? If not, we got one item we need to bring up under other business, and this is an item with the lease of Milton Ballpark. And Eric has got the information on that, and I think it's some representatives here from the group that would like to lease that ballpark. Eric?
Thank you, Chairman. So yes, this is the Milton Ladies Society. The main contact that I have been speaking with is Greta Toon, who is here tonight, and she's brought some others with her as well. This, in Milton, I'm sure, Chairman Phillips, you're aware, there's what used to be a ball field that the state owned it. Did the county own it? Apparently, we ended up, somehow the county got it back from the state at one point in time, and the Milton Ladies Society has decided that they would like to take over stewardship of that property, bring it back up to where it needs to be so that ball can be played there again. This is a standard lease that was drafted by Nick and has been reviewed by the Milton Ladies Society, and everything that was in here has been agreed upon. If the committee so chooses, I would ask Greta, and I'm sorry I forgot your name, to come up here and just kind of give a little more information about what they want to do.
Prior to that, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Commissioner Dodd.
Does who does Direct Department report to? Just curious. The Recreation Department, whoever owns
I
the,
think they report to anybody.
okay. Hopefully they're.
Conserva-
I'm ready to pass the motion, trust me.
Are you
Is Rec-
referencing the Conservation Board?
Whoever looks after the.
Conservation Board
softball
normally,
fields and- Okay.
yeah, Conservation Board.
Let me just say one thing. I'm going to let Lindsay talk to you. But we want the ball field, but not to play ball. We have a rich history of ball in Milton. I don't know if many of you know that. It goes way back to the early 1900s. And so we do want to put up a commemorative, maybe, and useful backstop. But what we have now is just a mess. It really is a mess. But anyway, I just wanted to.
My name is Lindsay Reed. I'm the treasurer of the Milton Ladies Society. So what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to honor we're honored to present the Milton Commons Project. It's an initiative that's designed to restore the old Milton ballpark, as Greta was saying, in downtown Milton. It's just like a 1.25 acre little lot. As the county's growing, our area is too, and our goal is to preserve that. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's dedicated to fostering cooperation, civic engagement, and a sense of belonging among the Milton residents. So the Milton Commons Project, we're seeking to transform the old ballpark property into a safe and attractive multi-use community space. Our plans include to clean up, there's an old backstop in the dugouts. There's metal sticking out everywhere. Kids play in this area. So it's something that we're really passionate about, not having anyone get hurt. And we'd like to replace those with just the commemorative, useful one. And then we also would like to create a 5 to 6 foot walking path along the perimeter of the property with low light decorative lampposts, and add a small pavilion eventually as well, maybe a playground later on, and then a historical marker as well. We've talked to our Commissioner Piercy on this. We've gotten his blessing to go ahead with it, and Mayor Carr had offered us the lease. So this is something that we were hoping that everybody would be on board with.
I think you got a copy of that lease, don't you? Yeah.
I believe it's on SharePoint under other business, or it should have been. It's a standard lease to a nonprofit. It's a 10-year, $1 a year lease. There are some provisions that allows, if we ever decided to terminate this lease and those kinds of things. But it sounds to me like they've got the best interest of this piece of property in mind. So I don't see that way we'd need that.
Motion to approve, contingent on the lease, legal, and marathon.
Nick wrote it, so.
He wrote it.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Second. Commissioner Johnson. Any other discussion on it? Call the roll.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Davidson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips? Commissioner Irvin? Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, do we need to send this to budget straight to the commission?
I'll send it to budget as a precautionary because it's got, even it's.
Got a dollar?
Yeah.
Okay,
As a motion, I'll request it go to budget.
okay. Well, she gonna send it to budget automatically. Any other business to come before the committee tonight?
Chairman?
Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah, it was, Commissioner Davidson had brought this up earlier, but I had it where I was going to bring it up under other business, the Singer Road property. I know Eric told us tonight it's a brownfield. Most of us know basically what that is, but we've never had a report on it, really, as far as the property I'd like next meeting, if someone could come up and give a report on the Singer Road property as far as what is a brownfield, the ins and outs of it. Can it be used by us for something that we need it for? I know you probably could, I'm sure you couldn't build a house on it without doing something, mitigation, but is it possible we could do something and use that property without mitigation? And there again, what would be the mitigation? I know Murfreesboro built their facility across the road. Well, the contamination came from the other side, so to me, it only makes sense. There again, I'm not a geologist or anything, but the boat company started this contamination, and it came on through. So I don't know if they had to mitigate their property or if they got to use it as is, but I'd like to know if we could use ours as is. Yeah, and then as far as mitigation, what is the mitigation? What has to be done if we're going to sell it? I know you mentioned that we'd have to have a buyer and go after this grant and all, but I'm sure it's more to it than that. I'd just like a report on it.
Okay, that's no problem. Eric is looking at it now. He just don't have anything complete that I know of, but we can give him that assignment. I'm pretty sure he'll bring us back a complete report.
Yeah, so I can speak to this very quickly just to kind of, guide where we're at. So the phase one came back. That's where we found out it's a brownfield. We've met with the state to decide what we can and can't do. You can't build a home, you can't build a daycare. Other than that, I think that's about the only restrictions necessary. But you have to, and Commissioner Dodd may know more about this than I do, but you have to put a vapor barrier at the bare minimum underneath any construction that you have. My understanding is you got to know the footprint of the building and what you're building before the state will tell you what it is you got to put underneath it. And so, at least that's my understanding. I will say I have not seen back the survey work. If you recall, this was 3 or 4 different lots, and we were doing the survey work to combine those. We got the initial back from that a month or so ago, maybe 2, but I don't think it has been through planning yet to actually get that combined. That's kind of what I was waiting on, and I made myself a note tonight to speak with Doug DeMasi and Mike Hughes to find out where we're at in that process.
Is that what you were looking for, Commissioner?
Yes, but what I had in mind too is something like Murfreesboro has across the street. If we were going to do something like, say, a fuel depot or something, I know we'd have some kind of building, but most of it wouldn't be a building. So we use the property as is, other than building a building, or maybe in conjunction with a building.
Our conversations when we had that meeting with the state in regards to the grant was all about a potential buyer who would be putting a factory or some sort of business on this property because the property is still listed with the Chamber of Commerce. So the short answer is I don't know, and maybe that's something that I can get with Alyssa Phillips in grants, and we can kind of go back to the state and ask them those types of questions.
Yes, and that's why I wasn't asking for a report tonight, because I know that it's short notice, and but I think it's valuable information that we do need. So, like I said, if you could come back maybe hopefully next month. And
yeah, as soon as I find out where we're at with that survey, I can bring back the other reports that we have, for sure. And if you would like, I can bring back, Chairman, I can bring back the reports we have to date, and then we can just know that the survey is still outstanding, if Chairman would like.
That sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions coming before the committee tonight? Not entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you.